Welcome back, fellas, to episode 4 of Curves, Chalk, and Chuck's podcast. We have an exciting one for you today. We got a lot of new segments. We're really excited to jump into it. My name's Charlie Butler. I'm here with Charlie Mathis. So let's just jump right into it.
Hey everybody, super excited to be here. The first thing I've got on my docket, we're going to go through some free agency updates and stuff. The first thing, obviously the big news, is Alex Bregman finally signs. He goes to the Chicago Cubs, give them a little bit of a hand. 5 years, $175 million with a no-trade clause. Cubbies get a little involved this week. It's a good week for Cubs fans. Obviously, the Bears taking down the division rival Packers in the playoffs as well. But yeah, how do you feel? How do you feel about this, Chuck, for the Cubs?
I like it for the Cubs. Cubs team was exciting last year. They were a great team like most of the season. Made the playoffs, made a decent run. He played great last year. I really like this. The one that I really feel for is Red Sox fans. Because, like, what are they doing over there? Whole Devers situation. Then you got this. Now you're stuck with no third baseman. You got Cubs just picked up. He's a good bat. It's a guy that's going to change your lineup. I think you get him in there with Seiya Suzuki and like this is a game changing bat. So I don't really see what the Red Sox game plan was with this. I think that that's almost more of a story than Bregman going to the Cubs, which again it's still pretty big just given how good of a bat he was last year. But I think it's just interesting to really think about that.
Yeah, I like that angle of going about it. So the reports are, I guess, that the Red Sox offered 5 years, 165 million, so they're just 5 million short. But then the largest thing was that they weren't willing to offer the full no trade clause throughout the entire contract. Which, for a guy like Bregman, he's probably thinking that this is going to be, where he's going to retire. And so I understand that for him, that's probably a big deal, especially if, I think with the Red Sox, I think they're going to be competitive for years to come, but you never know. You never know, who they're going to want to trade away. Obviously, I mean, people would have seen Devers being, someone that you would have never wanted to trade. But obviously, he went away to the Giants via trade. So I think if Bregman's looking at that scenario, he's looking at, all right, for this front office, no one's immovable. Maybe Roman Anthony, right? But no one's immovable for this front office. And so, yeah, if I'm him, I'm asking for that no trade clause too. And obviously Chicago's the people who are willing to give it. We had seen that the Cubs were all in on Bregman, which does make sense, but I kind of do feel for a guy like Matt Shaw. Like, was it just me or was Matt Shaw like someone we were hearing about, earlier in the season as a breakout candidate? And now I do think he does not really have a home there in Chicago.
I
Any
was
thoughts
thinking the
about that,
exact
Chuck?
same thing. Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. Like Matt Shaw, he plays ninth in Rookie of the Year voting. He was a pretty good player for him. He put up a 3.1 WAR. Where is his home? I mean, I could see them trading him. I mean, he's got a lot of he's very like a controllable guy. I feel like you get a lot of value for him. He's kind of shown that he can produce at the major league level. So I would, if I'm the Cubs, I would honestly look at trading him because I don't know, I don't really see him fitting in anywhere else like in that lineup. So especially with Bregman, yeah, I mean, Bregman's gonna go out there and shoot some line drives in the gap every day. So I don't know. I just don't really see where Matt Shaw fits in. I think it's interesting from like the Cubs standpoint. You're kind of replacing like a young guy with an older veteran who's kind of more established. So I get why they did it, but again, like why? It's kind of like a
Yeah.
weird like, and I like Matt Shaw. I think he's going to be a good player. It's just, will it be with the Cubs or is he going to establish himself elsewhere?
Yeah, like I think Matt Shaw definitely has potential to be great. And like you said, 3.1 WAR. And the thing about Matt Shaw is the potential's there, with his bat, but like he's got a good glove, right? And of course, I'm not trash on Alex Bregman, but Alex Bregman is going to be one of the best fielders at third base that you're going to see in the whole league. I mean, he's a multi-time Gold Glove winner as well, I believe, and so it's like, you're not going to want to You platoon them at third base. That doesn't make any sense. You don't want to put Matt Shaw at DH necessarily. I mean, like I wouldn't hate him there. I think he'd be a great DH, but you've got Seiya Suzuki in that role. And so yeah, I think this does open up Matt Shaw to be a trade candidate as well for a team that could use a budget third baseman, second baseman. I think he could move around the infield. But that being said, if you keep Matt Shaw and he's your fifth guy, in the infield, I think that's interesting as well. And I think you also, have to sit down and have a discussion with him if you're the Cubs front office of, hey, look, we still really respect you as a player. Are you willing to work with us? Are you willing to move around? And I think that'll say a lot about him and about the kind of guy that he's going to be in the league.
Do you have any potential landing spots for Matt Shaw?
Having just brought it up, now that you mention it, I could see him going to a team like the Mariners or someone. I don't know. I feel like he's really young. I feel like for him, like he probably imagined like this is probably different than he imagined it going. But I think there's a lot of people that are looking for infield help. Ketel Marte's on the market. Brendan Donovan's on the market. Eugenio Suarez is still without a home, right? And so I think one of those teams that might be looking at those guys, maybe you sneak Matt Shaw in that conversation, right? Maybe Matt Shaw can be a piece just like those guys can. And since he's so young and he has so many more years of control, he's probably a pretty expensive option at this point. And so that could be a pretty good trade piece for the Cubs.
Mm.
I do fear though that we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. I don't want to force a trade if they don't want to make it happen, they don't have to make it happen.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say.
All right, should we go on to Edward Cabrera to again Cubs? Cubs have been making some moves. I like this trade a lot. Edward Cabrera, MLB The Show legend. He's been a dog. Like honestly, it just kind of sucks. He's been on the Marlins. You don't really hear about him as much. Last year, he really like came into his own. He's 27, so he's kind of getting toward the prime of his career for a pitcher. Last year's stats were great. I mean, he's a pretty big strikeout guy. In 26 games started, he struck out 150 guys. Yeah, he was legit. He had a 3.53 ERA. For a Cubs rotation that was already pretty solid with Matthew Boyd and all that. I think that this is really going to help like bolster their pitching.
Yeah, yeah, and I love this. I will say between May and August, he had a 2.22 ERA.
Mhm.
And so right in the middle of the season. And you look at this Cubs rotation, like you said, Matthew Boyd, who is an all-star, he's going to play for the USA in the World Baseball Classic. Slot Edward Cabrera in there. Cade
Mhm.
Horton, who was right
Great.
in there, right in the fold for National Rookie of the Year.
Mm.
Shota, who obviously had some injury issues down the stretch, but he was amazing in
Yeah,
2024. And they got Jameson Tyone, like who's getting a little old, I believe, but I mean he's still right in there.
yeah.
I really like this Cubs starting rotation, and I think these two moves really are huge for them.
Yeah, I think this team could be scary, and we'll dive a little deeper into that later. But I mean, just looking through their depth chart, it's kind of hard to see any holes. I mean, you got Michael Bush who had a breakout year, and now you're adding a great starting pitcher. Yeah, I could see them going back to where they were last year, and I think that a big part of that is going to be this Edward Cabrera trade.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the one thing I will say is that you do lose Owen
Yeah,
Cassie, if I'm pronouncing that right, in the deal. And then I think there were some other smaller guys sent over, but I mean, I like a front office that's willing to trade away their prospects, especially if you're
yeah,
getting real talent. I mean, like I don't want to trade away my prospects for just no one, but like if you're looking at it from my point of view, right? I'm a Cardinals fan. We've How many prospects have we seen that didn't develop?
didn't do any.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, Jordan Walker, Dylan
like
Carlson,
Carlson.
these are top prospects that were touted to be the next great thing, then we didn't develop them, and
Uh-huh.
it's like, had you traded them away, who could you have gotten?
Yeah.
You could have gotten the best starting pitcher in the world, and instead it's like now Dylan Carlson
Mm.
was traded for a bag of chips to the Rays. I don't even know like where he is. It's that's the kind of stuff we're looking at, and so I look at this Cubs front office and I say, you know what? Good for you, right? Good for
Right.
you that you're willing to trade away. Like apparently Cubs fans loved Owen Casey, but I think they've got other guys, right? And they don't need him. He's not integral to their future and to their success.
Yeah, kinda going back on the Dylan Carlson take, we're kinda comparing that. I mean, Dylan Carlson was a guy there were talks about him being a centerpiece in a Juan Soto trade. So, like, it's kinda hard to compare, like, this to that. Like, Owen Casey obviously is a pretty top prospect. Like, it's just kinda crazy that they traded him. I get it, though. Like, I mean, they're in a win now scenario. Like, they see their window opening, especially in a kind of weaker NL Central. Like, you're not really facing much competition other than the Brewers. And I think getting rid of him is not the worst thing you can do. He's getting older from a prospect standpoint. He's 23. How much more development is he really gonna get? I mean, who really knows? I think that he was fine last year. He only had 26 at bats, and he bat 192. There's nothing you can really say. You can't really judge him on that small of a sample size. I'm excited to see him next year with the Marlins. I feel like there's less of a spotlight on him. Maybe he'll come into his own and show that he is the guy. He's gonna be the guy that the Cubs gave up accidentally. It's gonna be that story. They gave up Owen Casey for Edward Cabrera, but I hope it is. I hope this guy goes out and does good. The Marlins sure as hell need it too. I mean, not like they're getting any better. I think it's a win-win trade. I think they both got what they wanted. Marlins get a young guy. Cubs get a guy who's ready to compete and win now.
Yeah, for sure. Like the Marlins were going to sign Cabrera to an extension once his contract was up. No, right? So you got to trade him. You got to cash out.
Um,
Um, that's all you can really hope for if you're a smaller market team, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. The next two things I have on free agency updates. Michael Lorenzen signs to the Rockies on a 1-year deal. Meh. Uh, Cardinals sign Ryan Stanek. Excuse me. He's a Mets reliever who hasn't put up a good ERA since 2022. I mean, like, all right, you know.
yeah, I mean, these are kind of just whatever trades. There is something kind of interesting about Michael Lorenzen. Um, I mean, this guy could hit low key, he's not like
Notice.
terrible with the bat. I mean, you remember when he was with the Reds and dude was kind of like raking a little bit. It's kind of like, is he Shohei for the Reds? Not that caliber, but I mean, he's a pitcher who can hit a little bit. I'm hearing the Rockies are like considering letting him quit or hit. Like it's not.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's an article right here. Michael Lorenzen hitting with Colorado is out of the question. Just a rumor, so who knows? But if he's gonna do it, like, what better place to do it than Coors? Dude could poke him out into a gap, get a leg out a double. Like, I mean, it's a big outfield. He's in the best place to hit. Why not let him go do it? What do the Rockies have to lose? Give the fans some entertainment at least if you're not gonna go out and compete. I mean, it's Coors. I mean, what are the chances he puts up a ERA less than 4? Get some other use out of him. So I think it's like kind of sneaky, like fun. Like you look at it, it's like whatever. Michael Lorenzen to the Rockies, this basement dweller Rockies. Nobody cares. But they start letting him hit. Who knows? Maybe we're looking at like the next Shohei, and we just never realized.
'Cause, yeah, maybe he just needs the right hitting coach. You never know. Yeah, I'm looking at the stats right now, and it's like, I mean, in 2015, man, he put up a 250 batting average. I mean, come on, like,
But let the
hey,
man
he
hit.
hit a he hit a triple. Guess how many home runs he has in his 7 years of hitting, his 7-year hitting career. Guess how many home runs he has?
15.
7.
All right.
That's 1 per
Roasting
year
over
and
us.
4 in 2018. I mean, come
Damn.
on.
He's there, dude. Let the kid hit. I wanna
Yeah, I
see
mean,
it.
who cares about Alex
Well,
Bregman? I mean,
Rockies
come
yeah.
on.
No, this is the biggest signing of the week, I think. I
Clearly,
like it.
clearly.
I mean, you're getting them 1 year, $8 million. I mean, it's the Rockies. What do they have to lose? Go for it.
Yeah.
Ryan Stanek, however, that's kind of whatever. I'm not like, hooray, another old relief pitcher who's going to the Cardinals. I mean, okay, cool.
Yeah. Heard it
Guys can
heard it
eat
before,
innings.
seen it before.
Yeah.
I was just gonna move on because as a Cardinals fan, I'm just like,
Yeah.
ugh,
Whatever.
about that signing. I do have to apologize. Earlier, I said Ketel Marte is on the market. I forgot. The next thing I have is that reports are that Ketel Marte
Yeah.
is staying with the Diamondbacks, which I see as, this could impact the market. I think things were probably relying on Marte on, if a move there could happen because you've got Bo Bichette still in the market. I'm talking about just infielders here, although that matters to all hitters. Bichette still in the market. Donovan, a trade candidate. We talked about, Matt Shaw potentially being a trade candidate. So I think this will just probably, if anything, trigger other moves for other teams that are looking because he was clearly the premier asset. But if he's staying, I think then people are going to be more willing to chuck bids out at those guys.
Yeah, no, I like it for the Diamondbacks. I mean, you're keeping your generational, well, maybe, I mean, great player. You're keeping a franchise player. I kind of expected this, honestly. What are you going to give up for Ketel Marte? I don't really see him as like a trade guy. Like, there's some guys that like you see getting traded, and it's like, okay, that makes sense. But like, who are you going to give up for Ketel Marte? Can you even put a price on that? I think he's more of a
Yeah,
free agency guy. He'll sign an extension or hit free agency and get a bag.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I don't really see him. I think part of that is like how often do you see 6 WAR guys get traded? You really, I mean, like Michael Trout. How long did the Angels suck and they didn't trade
Yeah.
Michael Trout? Same thing with Otani. This is a 6 WAR guy, kind of year in and out, like four. Well, about 4 through 7 WAR. You just don't really see those kind of guys getting traded ever, unless they're a 3 WAR guy who puts up a 6 WAR season. Then you're like, okay, that's kind of a Brendan Donovan situation. I know his season last year wasn't 6 WAR, but it's like this is a guy who's playing, above his caliber. Now let's trade him because his value is at an all-time high. But like in my opinion, I think Ketel Marte's value is a known quantity. But I will also say that I think like the fans love Ketel Marte. I mean, he does so much more than play baseball for you. I think he puts butts in seats, and I
Mhm.
think you can't really quantify that, right? And I don't think that's represented well enough on a trade market. It's the same reason you won't see a guy like Aaron Judge get traded until he's old and decrepit, right? It's like, if he's a guy that people love and they're going to show up to the ballpark for, same thing with Shohei Ohtani. His signing, people say he's so, he's worth so much because he's a pitcher and a hitter. That's great. Yeah, and he can steal bases. Great, whatever. But you have so many people signing in from Japan, staying up to watch Dodgers games for this guy, And so that's what a player like Ketel Marte brings, I think. And so that's why I don't think he's going to be moved.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. I think that if we do, we're gonna kind of see a trade that's like middle of the season, like
Mhm.
kind of like the Shohei or not Shohei, Juan Soto trade, when he went to the Padres. Like that was a pretty big one. Nationals got damn near everyone in the like Padres farm system. Like you're gonna have to give up a lot for this guy, so I don't like him moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he should stay. He should go compete with them. I think that they're like really kind of underrated team. I mean, we forget that these dudes made the World Series like what 2, 3 years ago. Like
Yeah.
it's not like they're terrible. Like it's not like they're like lost in the NL West. I mean, it's just kind of hard with when you got teams like the Padres and the Dodgers. But I mean, it's not like they're not going to go out and compete. And I think it's a great place for Ketel Marte. It's clear that he likes it there. I mean, he goes out and he plays great. So I don't see him moving.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that wraps up kind of our open market free agency trade rumors section. Now we're going to start on a new section that we kind of talked about. We're going to be predicting team trends. So this is basically whether a team is going to be trending up, trending down, maybe a little prediction for where they'll finish. Um, this week we're going to do the Central, both American League and National League. So this should take us about 3 weeks. So I guess we'll just get started with where do you want to go first? AL or NL, Chuck? You tell me.
Oh, they're both interesting. Like they're both weird. They're both up for grabs, I think. Let's start with the Central or the NL. Let's go NL Central.
All right, NL Central. So we'll start with, you know what? Why not start with where we've been all episode, the Chicago Cubs.
Yep.
Um, I've got the standings here. Obviously, they finished second to the Red Hot Brew Crew last season. I don't know if I see their record being any better. They finished at 92 and 70, a 92 win season. I think they could do better than that. Like I want to hold on because I don't want to say that they're going to do worse than 92 wins. But that is a pretty great number. And it's so hard to predict baseball. But I'm gonna say up. I'm gonna say they're trending up, not just in win count. I could see them getting better than 92 wins, but I think they're gonna finish first. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm kind of a Brewers pundit. I think there's a reason games aren't played on paper, but if they were, the Brewers would not win 97 games. I mean, holy crap. Like
Think so.
I don't think
See,
the Brewers
I
are
might
all
have
that
to
good. If they
disagree with
are,
you
more credit
there,
to them.
you know?
But I'm not a believer in the 97 win Brewers repeating.
No, I agree in like some aspects. Like I feel like this is such like a fluky division. Like are all these team flukes? Are they all frauds? Like they could be. Like we're getting this is a three playoff division, like three playoff team division. Like the Reds made it. Like who would have thought that going back to like April, May? Like nobody would have thought that they would be in the wild card, but here they are. Who's to say they won't make a run at it? Like they didn't make any moves like the Cubs, but like I don't know. It's so strange and like hard to judge this division in particular. I see the Cubs probably around the same, maybe even a little worse. I like the stuff that they've done, but like realistically, is Matthew Boyd going to stay that consistent? I think he's kind of due to trend down. Same thing goes for like I don't know, Seiya Suzuki. He was great early, but did he really have that much of an impact later? Um, and for the Brewers, it's like they felt kind of fraud like their team is like on paper, like you said, like they're legit. Like I don't know. I think that they're pretty legit, but I don't know. It's just kind of hard to say like any of these teams are even like World Series caliber. Like, do you really think that any of these teams are gonna make it like to the World Series this year? No, I don't think
I
so.
do.
Really?
I do. I mean, as much as it pains me
Wow.
as a Cardinals fan, I think the Cubs could be a World Series caliber
Dude.
team. I do agree with you, Matthew Boyd. Like, he was an ace. He was a
Yeah.
legit number one starter this past year. I think he's trending down, right? Like, I think he's gonna go down. But Roki Sasaki, I think he's trending up. I think Seiya Suzuki, I'm all in, baby. I think that's who he is. I think we've seen Suzuki, and I think he's here to stay, personally. So I think the Cubs could be like, I think they could be a World Series contender, legitimately.
All right. No, yeah, that's interesting take. It's just when you're looking at the NL, like, dude, there's some powerhouses. Like
That's true.
Phillies are
Yeah.
great. Like we're acting like the Mets can't. Like I mean, the Mets are gonna Met, but like at the same time, it's like, dude, look at that roster. Like you got Lindor and Soto on the same team. Like that's just not fair. I mean, the Braves obviously weren't great, but like who's to say they won't get back to where they were? I mean, and then the Dodgers obviously just kind of chalk them into the playoffs right now. They're gonna go out and do what they do. They got the best roster in baseball. But I mean, the Padres, they had a good playoff run. Um, the Giants were like low key kind of knocking at the door a little bit. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of hard. Like, there's just teams that I could see over the Cubs. Like, honestly.
It's fair, yeah, and I think the reason that is because the NL Central isn't as top heavy as well, the top half top heavy, but I think, like, outside of the Dodgers, it's like, I could see any number of these teams. Maybe, I mean, is anyone getting over the Dodgers? Like,
Yeah, who knows?
no, but, in a 7-game, 5 3-game series, anything can happen. This is
Mhm.
baseball, right? And
Yeah.
so when I look for a World Series caliber team, I'm looking for a rotation that's good top to bottom. I think the Cubs have that. I think they've got good defense, and I think they've got a lineup that's solid from top to bottom. I think you've got Nico Horner, who's pretty good defensively. Alex Bregman, Dansby Swanson, right? And so I look at this Cubs lineup and I say, why the hell not, right? Why couldn't they make it? I don't think, are they the best team in baseball? No. But if any team can go and make a run, right? If the Brewers can make a run, why can't the Cubs, right? Or that's all I see. I see the Cubs trending up and the Brewers trending down.
That's a fair take. I do agree with you on some aspects. The way that I'm kind of thinking about it right now is like, yeah, the Cubs have gotten better. They are trending up. I do think that they're trending up.
Hmm.
I mean, what killed them last year was the Brewers. The Brewers stopped their story. And then the Brewers ran into the Dodgers. So like who's to say, well, switch up this year. I do think the Brewers are trending down. Their team is good on paper. You know, they had some dudes who were raking last year, but again, it's like baseball's such a weird sport. Like you could go 5 for 5 one day, and the next day you're 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. And it's just like,
Oh
who
yeah.
knows what's gonna happen? You know, like Brewers could be the worst team in baseball, and like I don't know, nothing really surprises me. You know, something crazy could happen, but I do see them trending down. I think it is the Cubs division to win, but I think it will be a battle. I think it's really gonna be like I
Oh
don't
yeah.
think the Brewers are gonna get that much worse. They had a great run, but like a lot of it, dude, it was like I don't know. Maybe I'm just like almost nostalgic for that time already, but like it's pretty magical to watch. Like, who would have thought they went on that run, became the best team in baseball? But no, I think it's gonna be a dogfight, and it's gonna be them two at the top who are kind of duking it out. And I mean, if we're looking at the Reds, like maybe I don't know, are they gonna do what they did again? Probably not, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think the Reds are pretty hard to tell because it's like
Mhm.
they haven't really lost
No,
anyone like Austin Hayes. What like you haven't really lost anyone. You know,
yeah,
you've
okay,
re-signed people.
yeah,
Um, I guess you say their young guys have gotten more experience and therefore they'll be better, but that's not always true. So I don't know. Like I guess I'd like to say that they're trending up.
hmm
But you know, like you said, they made the playoffs last year. They won how many? They went 83 and 79. So they won 83 games. Do I see them winning like 85 games? I
I don't know.
guess. I have them kind of right where they are. Like
Mhm.
truth be told, you know, I think they kind of stay the same.
Yeah, no, I agree. If their young guys can continue like developing, like Ellie De La Cruz, he's gonna do what he does. He's gonna strike out a bunch, steal a bunch of bases, and hit nukes and be flashy and flip his bat and do all. It's gonna be fun to watch, and I think that that is like it's electric, dude. It's like how can you not kind of cheer for them? You know, they're a fun team to watch. Like it kind of reminds me. Do you remember what was it like 2019 when the Reds were just like it was like a team of just like bodybuilders. It was like Puig,
Oh yeah.
Eric Dietrich. Like it low key reminds me of that. Like they're lifting weights in the dugout. Like I don't know. I feel like the Reds need to be a little flashy like that. Make it a little fun. Like go Amir Garrett, the Pirates, or something like that. Like go get scrappy and go make the wild card for no reason. And I think their young guys are like a big part of that. Ellie, of course. I mean, Gavin Lux, like he was a top prospect for forever. Like who's like like, there's again, it's hard. Like he could just pop off. Like we don't know if he
Right.
does what he's supposed to do. Then yeah, he's legit. And their rotation could be like looking at this. Like this could be top 10 in baseball. Like it's legit. And you got Hunter Green at the ace. Dude's a stud. He is insane. Andrew Abbott, he was all-star last year, right? Chase Burns was
Oh,
really good.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Chase Burns is a guy who
Mhm.
I think he's up, right? He's
Yeah.
up and he was
Mhm.
great. Like Rhett Lauder is a
Mhm.
prospect, you know. I could he be up there? I don't know. I just think the Reds rotation is, you know, the story, you know, in August for the Reds or in July was basically are the Reds going to sell their starters or are they going to beef up and make a playoff run? And they made a playoff run, right? And so I don't know, like I really like what they've got going on, and so
Mhm.
I think they're kind of right where they are last year, if not a little bit better. But you know, like we said, it's so hard to predict.
Uh-huh.
And then we've got you know the bottom feeders are St. Louis Cardinals and the Pirates. The Cardinals finished with 78 wins. Pirates finished with 71. Me personally, I don't see much changing. I mean, the Cardinals have kind of sold their guys, and we're
Yeah.
expecting them to sell more. So I guess the answer for them would be down. That'd be the easy answer.
Uh-huh.
I could be convinced out of that, but and then the Pirates, they've signed some guys, so the easy answer for them is up. That's what I see. But I can also see a world where the opposite is true. You know, it's like that's baseball, right?
I could totally see them like flipping spots here. Like Cardinals go dead last. Pirates move up a little bit. Again, like look at this rotation. Like I mean, obviously you have Skeens, but like the Pirates, like kind of sneaky good. Mitch Keller's not bad. Bubba Chandler's a
Yeah.
great prospect. Who's the one guy? The 1-2 punch of Skeens and Jared blanking on his name. Jared Jones. I mean, Jared
Oh,
Jones
that's
was
right. Yeah.
legit, dude. He was legit for a little bit. In 2024, of course, injuries, but I mean, if the Pirates like rotation really performs the way they should, obviously Skeen's gonna do it, then they'll be better, I think. But other than that, like who else? I mean, O'Neal Cruz. I mean, reminds me of Ellie. I mean, you got two 6'10" shortstops in the NL Central, last name Cruz. They're kind of like not the same player, but they're very similar. Um, Brian Reynolds, I think he's trending down. It's just their lineup just isn't where it needs to be at, and I think they're going to get carried by their rotation. I honestly
Mhm.
see them going above the Cardinals. I think they're going to win more games than them. Hurts my soul to say it, but that's just the way it's looking so far.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's you know, in all my years of life, I don't know if I've seen a last place Cardinals team. I don't think I've seen that. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, if you're looking at it from an objective perspective, I think the Cardinals have to be dead last. I mean, you know, that's the reality of rebuilding, right?
Yeah,
We've seen Contreras gone. We might see Donovan gone. You know, it's you know, there's so many people that are being sold. Sonny Gray is out here, like our one a bright spot in the rotation. But you know that's fine. You know that's what it takes to rebuild. And you hope that the rebuild happens in a year or two. Um, but yeah, no, I think the Cardinals dead last. I got Cardinals, Pirates, um, Reds, Brewers, Cubs. That's what I see.
mhm,
Um, in the NL Central, and I think that was relatively simple now that I think about it. I mean, I think in baseball there's always going to be some parity, but that's the way you've got to predict it at this point. I could see Cubs Brewers being flipped, but
yeah. No, I think one thing that we didn't bring up when talking about the Pirates, Connor Griffin, one of
yeah.
yeah, I mean, dude, like this dude's been like everywhere. Like every prospect headline has been like all these people are ranking Connor Griffin like so high on their charts, you know. And it's his ETA is in 2027, but like he like why not make him a September call up? Like what do you have to lose, you know? Get him some experience. Dude's 19 years old. Like I think they should. I want to see him be like a September call up end of the season. Be like kind of like boost this team over the Cardinals. I could really see that happening. It's gonna be like a dogfight for last place. So like it's gonna be a fight for that, which is weird. Like who's gonna suck the most? And I think it's gonna be the Cardinals. I think that yeah, I don't know. Pirates like they're just it's again hard, but I think the Pirates are gonna be better than the Cardinals.
Yeah. Well, I guess that concludes the NL Central, and we'll go to the AL now.
There we go.
Let's see, AL Central. I feel like there's not a lot of movement. I will read the standings from last year. The Cleveland Guardians with 88 wins, Detroit Tigers with 87, Royals at 82 and 80, Twins 70 wins, 92 losses, and the Chicago White Sox
Oh babe.
60 wins, 102 losses. One might say a poor man's St. Louis Cardinals. I've heard them called.
This is like it's almost like the same division. Like I think like it's they mirror each other. Like you got the Guardians who went on a crazy run, just like the Brewers. You got the
Yeah.
Tigers who were hot the first half, just like the Cubs. You got the Royals who were like they were in playoff contention for a while. I mean, like the Reds, you know, it's almost like an exact mirror of like what we're looking at, like with the NL Central. So it's kind of hard to like, or not hard, but it's like you can draw comparisons, and maybe that'll kind of help where I'm going to rank this team. But I think the most interesting case has to be the Tigers. Like, what are the Tigers going to do? Scooble is such a huge piece to them, and like, there's no guarantee that he's going to be around any longer. You know, I think that he's might as well like be gone already, you know. That arbitration case is not looking good. They're offering him about like 10 million, 11 million less than like almost yeah, it's a lot. I don't remember the exact number, but they're offering him a lot less than he really wants. So he's as good as gone in my eyes. So like where does that put them? I think that they're trending down with him gone.
Yeah, I could see him trending down, but I also think they do have some pieces. I think they've got young guys. I think you've got Javi Baez, Riley Green. Well, you know, not Javi Baez, not quite young anymore, but Kerry Carpenter. You know, so I
Mhm.
think they do have some pieces. I think Scooble is kind of the storyline with this team, though. And so I really don't know what to do with them. I certainly don't think that the Guardians are gonna replicate what they did though, which I don't think is that crazy to say. So it's like, are they gonna finish first in the division again? I mean, who are they up against? Who's gonna fight
Yeah.
them? The Guardians? The Royals? Could the Royals make a splash? I can see the Royals making a huge jump. I think the Detroit Tigers stay right where they are place-wise, and, I mean, 87 I mean, they were horrible for the last month of the season. Like, if they play a little more consistently, is 87 wins out of the picture for them? I really don't think so. So I honestly Detroit Tigers, I'm gonna say they stay where they are for me personally.
No, um, I like looking at their farm system too. Kevin McGonigal, he's been consistently rated
Yeah.
pretty high up there. He's expected arrival is 2026. He gets called up, what does that do? Like how does that impact this team? Honestly, not seeing it as much as they would like want. Like at the end of the day, their rotation, like who do they have other than Scuba? They got Flaherty, they have Casey Mize. I mean, who else? Which sucks because like whenever I was looking at these prospects years ago, it was always Casey Mize was going to be what Tyreek Skubal is now. Um, and it's like, does he still have that in the tank to like be that guy? Could we get a Skubal out of Casey Mize? Only time's gonna tell. It's not crazy, but I mean, just looking at their prospects, like you don't really have much pitching prospects. It's a lot of position players, which it's not bad, but it's not good. Like I would like a little bit more depth out of their farm system. But again, Kevin McGonigal is going to make an impact. Max Clark's going to make an impact whenever he gets called up. It's pretty interesting. I agree with you. I think that they're going to stay where they're at, but at the same time, it's like I think there's three teams in the running here. I think that it is between the Guardians, the Tigers, and the Royals. Royals, I mean, is Bobby Witt going to be Bobby Witt still? I mean, we all hope so. Guardians, Jose Ramirez. I feel like it's like there's just superstars at each one of these teams. And it kind of depends on how well they play. If Skubal stays, how good is that going to make the Tigers? Ramirez for the Guardians and Witt for the Royals. So I think Tigers are going to be trending down. I really realistically could see them placing third in their division. But again, like that could change. I need to like really look at the Royals as we go on to like really evaluate that in the Guardians. But trending down, they're either where they're at, maybe a little less.
I'm pulling up each team's depth chart here. I will say like the Guardians, I think a Brewers comp isn't all that crazy. I mean, like I'm looking at the rotation, Tanner Bibby, Gavin Williams, Slade Sassoni, Logan Allen, like these guys aren't anything special
Mhm.
talent-wise. I think Gavin Williams was a pretty highly rated prospect. So, we could see him kind of break out, but he's not. And so I look at that, I look at their bullpen and I don't really see anything too special. So I don't know. I think the I think the Guardians could be down. I think they
Mhm.
could be down fairly significantly, but I look at the Royals. I think they could go up quite a bit.
Mhm.
Seth Lugo and Cole Reagans definitely, in the starting rotation, and Chris Bubik.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but those guys are names who we've heard. And obviously it's a pretty old rotation, and so I would like to see them make another move there. But if you look at this lineup, catcher obviously Salvi. Salvi's a little old,
Guy. Nah, he
but
rakes,
like
bro.
Vinny Pasquantino at first base, I mean, he's been good.
Mhm.
Jonathan India, who what 2-3 years ago was a
Rookie of the
rookie of the
year.
year candidate.
Yeah.
Michael Garcia at third
He locked
I
in.
mean, he hit like at a
He was
300
great, bro.
clip last year.
He was legit.
Bobby Bobby Witt Jr. we've seen. So I don't know, and then obviously Jack Caglione, who didn't play as well as he should have, but if
Yeah.
he plays as well as he's supposed to. So I don't know. I think these Royals could make a pretty big splash in the Central.
No, I really like the Royals here. I really like could see them going up like pretty high. Like honestly, or the Guardians. Looking at the Guardians roster, like Steven Kwan and Jose Ramirez. Is Nolan Jones gonna be what he should be? David Fry raked for like a year. Angel Martinez. Like where's like the real star power? And the Royals don't have that star power too, but they're just like I mean Bobby Witt of course, but that's different. He's a dog. But like I mean It's kinda just like it feels like scrappy almost. Like, these dudes just, like, go out and they go out and hit. They, like, I don't know, they win, which obviously it didn't show up in the, standings as they finished 3rd in their division, but I don't know, I like this team. Again, like, Jack Caglianone, if that dude starts breaking, like, this is a dangerous team. Like, imagine he starts finding some gaps, like, he's a hitter. That dude's got power, especially in that ballpark where you need that power to get it out of there with such a big outfield. I think he's gonna make a splash this year. I like the Royals there. I think they're trending up. I believe they dealt with a lot of injuries last year with the rotation. I think Raggins was out for a little bit, if I am like remembering that correctly. Maybe even Seth Lugo, but like we're forgetting like these dudes were pitching great. So I like their rotation. Chris Bubich was legit, and their bullpen's really not bad. They picked up Matt Strom. That's a pretty dangerous lefty at the pen. That kind of brings me into the Guardians. I'm kind of looking at them. I think such an underrated storyline when looking at this team is the loss of Emmanuel Clase. You know, they're
Mhm.
now without their like number one, they're without their closer, you know? This dude was like insane for a little bit there. Cade Smith, Hunter Gaddis, obviously good, but like you look at Clase, he's on a different level when he's not gambling, of course. But I think that that's honestly going to make a difference. Like I really could see that making a difference in this division, and well, I want the Royals to make a run. You know, I would like to see them win the division.
And, all this talk of bullpen, I feel like we'd be doing them a disservice if we didn't, touch on the Dodgers, Kyle Finnegan, Kenley Jansen. Will Vest, I think, was pretty good for a bit there, wasn't he? So obviously, I think Jansen's your closer, in this next season. And so I don't know. I think it really is anyone's division. You
Yeah,
know, I, I think we've got a real three-headed battle. And then I guess, bringing up the rear, you've got the Twins and the White Sox.
yeah,
I think the Twins kind of stay where they are, and I think the White Sox are better. I mean, what other direction is there to go but up for the White Sox? I
yeah.
mean, that's kind of a mean way to put it, but like, you sign Murakami, obviously. He's not a bad signing, so I think the White Sox are on the up, even if it's just a little bit.
No, yeah. The Twins, I think sleepers, you know? Like I like they're really not that bad on paper. Again, baseball's not played on paper, but looking at the rotation, like you got Pablo Lopez, dog, Joe Ryan, dog, Bailey Ober, he was pretty reliable. Taj Bradley, like with the Rays, that dude was pretty legit. Simeon Woods Richardson, like he was supposed to be pretty good. And Mick Abel, again, another guy that was supposed to be pretty good. Like who's to say that they don't keep going up? I think that they do go up. I like their rotation a lot. Um, and for their lineup, like they got some young guys who are really gonna make a difference. Cody Clemens, he raked for a little bit last year. Luke Keeschel, again, another guy that did pretty well. Eduardo Julian, like that's a bunch of guys on the depth chart that can play like any position almost. Like those guys are very reliable. And then Royce Lewis, like if he's not getting injured, like he legit could be top 15, top 10 player in the league. He rakes every time he touches the field. It's just when will he? Brooks Lee was great. Cody Clemens, you know, I mean, I feel like they're there. Like they're knocking on the door of kind of a breakthrough, and I hope they get it because these guys are all fun to watch. It's just can they all put it together at the same time, avoid some injuries, and just hit their stride. The bullpen talk in this division has been pretty strong, and that's where they're lacking. Honestly, I think that they kind of have their guys at their positions. You know, they've got their rotation, but like, who is in the bullpen? Cody Funderburk, I sweet, but who's going to be that like lockdown guy? Who's going to go get it done in the ninth inning? It's kind of up in the air. Oh, and Byron Buxton, like obviously, it's kind of
Mhm.
you can gloss over him because he's so good. But I mean, they avoid injuries. They play how they're supposed to. They get a better bullpen. I think that like low key, could they be in the run for it? Maybe. I don't know. You know, I think that they're not bad.
Yeah, I appreciate that because I think hearing that lineup, I think maybe I did count him out too early.
Mhm.
People are still looking to see Luke Keeschel kind of break out and become the guy that he's supposed to be. Royce Lewis, obviously super highly touted. So, I actually, now that you mentioned that, I think maybe they could be on the up and up.
Yeah.
Obviously they kind of sold away, all their trade candidates.
Yeah.
last season, but or 2 seasons ago. No, last season. And so I don't know, now that you mention it, I think this may be one of the more open
Yeah,
divisions out there, the AL Central.
yeah. Look at their prospects too. You have one, two, three, four guys in the top 10 that are at the MLB level and our expected time of arrival is 2026. And you got Walker Jenkins too, their number one prospect. I think
Oh
he's a,
yeah.
he's a game changer. You know, he's good. He's gonna do something for this team, and he's expected to be up in 2026. You know, they've got all these prospects, all these young guys. I think that this is going to be the young team to watch. You know, I feel like there's one of those every year. um, I'm trying to think of who it was this year. It's kind of hard, but just like sleeper that kind of come in undetected, and then they're all young. They're all like there to win. They all got a chip on their shoulder, I guess, almost. And they I can see them like low key making a run. I don't hate this Twins team.
Yeah, I really think we kinda did the AL Central justice there. Yeah, I really kinda did like that segment. Everyone, let us know what you think of that segment.
For sure.
I think we'll continue. I guess we'll do the West, NL West, AL West next week. We oughta say goodbye, I guess, but, I think it was a real great episode.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, great to chop it up with you, Charlie, about some baseball. Thanks
Yeah.
everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week. And thanks, guys.
Keep following the podcast at Sandman Sports. We'd love to see y'all back every week. So yeah, that's gonna do it.
Awesome. See everyone.